This is Edward Ojambo. In this, it's not a tutorial, it's unboxing or post-unboxing. I'm going to show you my 2025 Blender and AI workstation build. There's one thing missing, and that's the GPU. The reason I actually have the GPU, I haven't installed the GPU yet because I'm waiting for its shroud for the fan. I'll explain that later. Also, my old system was an Intel i7 2600, and it's from 2011. Can you imagine? 2011 is when I had that. When I first started build, it had originally it had 8 gig of RAM. I was using mechanical hard disks. Funny enough, at that time I wanted to get the AMD FX, I think it was FX 8000 or something like that from back then. But when I went to the shop, I think I went to, I tried to go to a defunct company called Factory Direct, because that's the ones who had actually built something way back in 1999, but they had changed. They no longer build computers or assemble computers. So I went to Canada Computers, and they wanted me to get an i5, but I told them I need it for work. And they're trying to convince me because they were thinking, because the customer at the time helped pay for it. So when he talked to the shop guys, they were saying, oh yeah, for gaming you only need an i5, get a GPU. I didn't need a GPU. As I said before, the integrated graphics are perfectly fine. The only time I got a GPU is when I bought Seiki, I think that's what we call it, a 4K monitor. I wanted to use it as it's TV. It was a TV. I wanted to use it as a monitor, so I needed a GPU because it's 4K. The Intel HD, I think it was 2000. That one was not capable of doing 4K, so I had to get a GPU. So I got I think it was RX 240 AMD. I was happy with that one. Later on, because it was on sale, I got the NVIDIA RTX 950. That's what I've been using. It's actually still here. I don't know if you guys can see this. I think I'll lift it up here. I unplugged it. So right here, if you guys can see that. So that's the EVGA GTX. You see that's when I pulled out from the system. So it still works, but obviously it only has 2 gigs. It only has 2 gigs of RAM. So 2 gigs of VRAM. So that's not going to cut it for my use case. So that's why I needed that, and also. I'll show you more of the old system compared to this new system. So let's go down here a little bit. So for this build, my 2025 build, I repurposed the case. I got the case, I believe, in 2016, or maybe. Because the other case, I had too many peripherals and it wouldn't fit anymore. And that was just a garbage case. So I went in and I got this deep cool Tesseract BF. It came with one fan, and then because the other case had no fan, this one had one fan. I just kept the fan. So this is what it looks like. This is the deep cool case that I do have. So it's a Tesseract BF, and I was surprised that Deep Cool still has it on the website. I guess they call it Legacy Series, but I guess they still have it. So this is basically what it looks like. You see, it does come with a fan, and I like this base. It's easy to pull out. In the old days, you had to screw you had to use screws to put them in proper place. This base have been a really game changer. I'm actually liking this. So the one thing I didn't like about this case was when I was trying to put the fan in the front here. That one, I think there was some workman problems when they were putting the case together. Other than that, everything is pretty fine. I also originally I didn't like the plastic stuff, but it's all metal here, metal, and then some of this a little bit plastic, but it's lasted, and no complaints. So there we go. So here are the specs. You can see it's 5.1 kilograms, so it's actually pretty light. it has a lot of space for peripherals. So this is has two 5.25 drive bays. I use those for my DVD DVD-RW drives. It has 3.5 drive bays. I think I'm not using any of this. I might be wrong. Oh no, yeah, I do use them. What I mean is I do use them, but I do not. I'll explain what I mean. As I said before, I used to have when I buy a laptop would come with the mechanical disk, the 500. I think it's 5,000 RPM. So what I would do is I would just take that out, and then I was like, oh, I can maybe use this for backup or something. So then I'll take them, but then there's only 6 SATA connection. So they are actually here, but then the 3.5. No, I think it's 2.5 bays. So I'm using 2 of them, but I'm not actually using them. I said they're not plugged in. And then the rest, I have 3 SSDs. I'll show you that in a second. They were enterprise size, so one is 380 and the others I think are 240. So SSDs. I've not put them in RAID, and obviously the front of the I/O panel has one USB 3.0, one USB 2.0, and has audio and mic. Honestly, I think I've used the audio and mic at a grand total of probably once or twice. It has 7 expansion slots, so there's a lot of space. It had 1 fan in the rear, but you can see you can put multiple fans. You can put in the front. That's the one I was struggling with. So there was a workmanship problem there, but everything else was fine. The power supply is the ATX, of course. Then the cooler, I'm using all 120 millimeter. And what else is here? So that's, as you can see, it's fine. I've been relatively happy with it. One of the weird things is when this case is where the power supply goes down. That was kind of weird. That took me a while to get used to. Like, oh, the power supply is supposed to sit this way. Okay, yeah, that was a weird thing. Because normally in the old style cases, the power supply would actually blow. The fan would actually be here, but now it's like they're going, I guess, for safe space. Okay. So as you can see, let's go to the part list now. As you can see, I've gone through the case. The reason I'm doing is because I did an unboxing for the other things. I haven't done one for the case, so I decided to do it in this video as well. So this is the motherboard. I bought the motherboard used. If you can actually see, if my hand goes, yeah, right there. You see that's the open box. That's where the motherboard. Came in, was used. Now the weird thing about buying the used motherboard, it didn't come with any instructions. Now I'm pretty good with where things were, especially the motherboard. They will tell you like, this is where the sound goes, so that's pretty straightforward. But then there's some, and it says fan, so those are easy to do. But then some of them were some of the connectors would say something like GFP1. I'm like, what does that mean, GFP1? And so that one. I had the laptop, thank goodness, because I could have used my phone, but the laptop was easier. So I used a laptop to go to the MSI website, and they had the, they had the instructions and drivers, and also if you want to update is it the BIOS? Or yeah, do a BIOS update. You can do that as well. I've learned from the past that if things are working, I'll just leave it. I'm happy with it. Most likely because it's used, probably somebody already updated the BIOS. I said I won't bother. So I used the laptop. I opened up a PDF file for the manual. Then I was able to fix the rest of the stuff. The power supply was also a little quirky because it's I guess they call it modular. So I guess you plug in things. So that one's a little bit confusing, but I figured out as well because I said the way the motherboards are now, it's pretty. It's almost impossible to make a mistake because it clips only one way, and there's a little barge, so you know where everything goes. So that was pretty straightforward, nice and simple. So the motherboard, as I said, was a used one. It's MSI B550A Pro, the Pro series. The CPU, this was everything else was new except obviously when the GPU comes. The CPU was an AMD 5 Ryzen GT with integrated graphics. Now, I was actually looking for the G version, but for some weird reason, the G is actually way more expensive than the GT. And all I cared about was the G there, because I wanted the integrated graphics. I didn't want to use my the NVIDIA 950 GTX. I could have, but I didn't want to. And also, I prefer to use the integrated graphics, which I will. Now, one thing about the integrated graphics compared to the, let me pull this up again just so you guys can see it. So if you see the ports, it comes with the GTX 950. It comes with a HDMI port, and the rest and one HDMI, and the rest are all display ports. So if you can see that, there we go. You will see everything there. Yeah. So now my main monitor is a 4K monitor. Obviously, it's HDMI. I think 2 point whatever. That's no problem. The other monitor, it's HDMI. Now with the MSI motherboard, it doesn't have this what is this again? Not HDMI. What's the other one? DVI. I think it's DVI. Yeah, DVI port. So that it has VGA and DVI. So obviously I'm not going to use VGA. So when I remembered that for some odd reason, I think for the old AMD card, I had a because I had actually 3 monitors before. I had an HDMI to DisplayPort cable. So I was like, oh, I just plugged that in and that perfectly worked. So then I'm saving the DVI cable. I'll probably never need it, because once this monitor dies, the new one will probably just be DisplayPort or HDMI. So, but even then, the problem is, the integrated graphics only had two places to connect, is the HDMI or DisplayPort. So if I get another monitor, unless it's like USB 3 or something, is it 3 point whatever or something, we'll see. I think the newer monitors, even the value brands or budget brands, they should, I think they should use the USB, or I think with DisplayPort you can also split it. So I'll figure something out if I get another monitor in the future. But I'm saying I don't think I'm going to get 3 monitors again. I think I'm pretty happy with working with 2. I think two will be perfect. All right. What else here? It was straightforward putting the CPU onto the motherboard. So the reason I have integrated graphics, I said, is because I for my day-to-day work, I don't actually need a GPU. So we'll talk about the GPU coming up. So okay, I'll come back to that again. All right. So the RAM. Remember I told you that Timex, it was slightly bent. So because it was packaged, I shouldn't have thrown away the packaging. It was really flimsy packaging, and I just threw it inside the mailbox. It was obviously a bent because it just threw it in there anyhow. But it worked fine. One thing I didn't realize was I guess I'm showing my age, is that I remember I think starting sometime in the 90s, the rule was that if you can't fill up all the slots for RAM, you're supposed to leave one space empty. For example, I have to put the first slot and the third slot, or the second slot and the fourth slot. So that's what I did. I put it in the I think I put it in the first slot and the third slot, and then when I put it up, it said something about it said that the memory is not optimized or something like that. So I panicked, and I thought it wasn't working. So the problem, it took me a while to figure out the problem. The problem was that, remember I told you I had 2 extra drives, which I don't actually, so I had actually switched one of those plugs in, so the system wasn't able to detect the correct drive. It took me a while to realize that, until I said, hey, wait a minute. It should be the bigger hard disk that's a problem. So I plugged that in, And the only other thing was, unfortunately, this motherboard doesn't come with Wi-Fi, so I had to use my Wi-Fi card. That wasn't a problem. When everything booted up, right on the first try, I wasn't able to connect. So I thought something's wrong with the drivers because it's an Intel A200. So I found out later that the fix is very simple. All you have to do is just simply forget the current Wi-Fi setting and then re-input your password. That's it. It took me a while to realize that because I guess the old one, when it was connected to the router, it was connected based on the Intel system. So I guess it's the ID was the ID was wrong, because obviously the Intel is, I'm not using Intel, I'm now using AMD. So the ID must have changed and was confused. So that was another simple fix. On the internet, if you search, they will tell you, oh, unplug it, plug it in back again. The point is that I know it was there because when I type on the command line, when I can see it, I know it's working. It's able to detect that there are Wi-Fi connections there. So the problem is, why there's no connecting to one? But nobody talks about that. It's just simple things you have to figure out yourself. All right, what else? So the GPU. So this is the GPU that I'll be using. It's the AMD Instinct MI60. I do actually have it. Let me grab it. Give me a second. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. You know what? I should actually do a proper unboxing right now of this beast. So if you guys can see that. So it's let me see here. It says ATI Technologies. Oh, I didn't realize AMD still uses that one. I thought they bought ATI, the Canadian company. So I don't know if you guys, I don't know if that will show up. All right. Yeah, so all right. Yeah, the packaging of that, I think that came from China as well. The packaging is really, really weird. I'm like, you guys saw that? That's the padding. That's literally how it came. I'm really surprised somebody would ship a GPU without wrapping it better or putting more padding. But hey, it arrived, so I'll test it out. Okay, so I said I'm waiting because it's supposed to be a server. I think it from crypto mining. So obviously it depends on the server fans. The server fans obviously they're loud, and they cool it down sufficiently. But on a desktop like the case like this one, even though I'm going to have 6 fans, that's not enough. So I'm getting a shroud which will give it a fan and be blowing right through it as well. So that will help cool it down significantly. All right, and then the power supply, I showed you guys this. It's the Sama G850W. It's an ATX 3.1. It claims it's feature ready, whatever that means. So that I already installed it, fit perfectly into the case. And then of course, now I will actually, let me show you some pictures. I was gonna wait, but I can show you. I'll show you some pictures here when I was installing. As you can see here, actually, let me put it here. There we go. So as you can see, this was me putting the AMD CPU onto the MSI motherboard, and you can see here, this is one of the SSDs. It's an OCZ. I think that company no longer exists. They were bought by Toshiba. Yeah. So, and these are the fans here. As you can see, I had to put them on the case. Yeah. So this one was pretty straightforward. I just had to remove this plastic. There was some plastic. What do you call it? The brackets on both sides. I just had to remove them, and it just sits straight down. There's a little bit tricky just to get them all aligned to, because I was trying to put one screw in and go into the other. No, you have to like basically do all the screws at the same time, but that was no problem. The motherboard, I also had a little problem getting it to fit inside the case. I just had to wiggle it a little bit, some slight bending. I'm not sure why, but I guess maybe it's the quality of the case. But yeah, it did fit. Everything is working as normal. So let's see the next picture. And yeah, so this is another close-up. So this is where the RAM would go. I don't know if I took one with the RAM. And this was here. I was just trying to take just to eye it where the ports are, the back ports. And here, is that RAM? Oh, no RAM. Is that RAM? Did I put RAM in there? I can't tell. Oh, no RAM. No RAM yet. Okay, no RAM yet. So I think that's it. Oh yeah, and then I took one of the. You see, this is the case when everything was working. And you see here, I'm charging, I'm going to do a separate review of this little guy. And that's, you see here, I actually used it yesterday I've had it for about a year. It's surprisingly a nice little hair clipper. It's pretty nice for shaving on the head and everything. So it's way better than my Warhol machine, which has been sitting around for over a year now. So there we go. That is the review. I can close that. And what else? Do I have anything else here for you guys? Oh yeah, so let's go down here. Oh yeah, so this is the old system. Actually, I should probably put this here now since we don't need that anymore. And yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. I don't want to leave that empty, so let me put something. We'll just do a quick inverse. There we go. So the old system, it had as I said, an Intel i7 2600 and 4 cores, 8 threads, and 3.4 gigahertz. I don't know if that's with the boost. And then the new system, the new CPU has an AMD 5600 GT. It's 6 cores, 12 threads, 3.6 gigahertz. You know, the interesting thing about this is considered a budget system, and this was considered a high-end system. Go figure. So the theoretical difference is that the new system is 2 times the performance. Okay, and for RAM, I had 16 gigs of DDR3 1300 megahertz. So it was mixed. That means that because I bought it from 2 different places, so I mixed up the first time I bought it, I think it was Patriot, and the second time was another company. So that's why it's mixed here. So 8 gigs. So basically there's 4 gig sticks. So 4 by 4. So this one, I have 2 16 gig sticks. So there's space to expand in the future. And it's DDR4 and it's 2133 megahertz. This is the lowest, this is the slowest RAM that the motherboard supports. So as I said before, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to be gaming or anything, so I'm perfectly fine with that. And the OBS it's matched. It's 2 sticks. It came as a kit. So it's double the capacity, and it's faster because it's DDR4. No, not because of DDR4. I think DDR4 you have actually more latency, but it's double capacity. And if you see here 21, it's essentially higher frequency as well. All right, and then the GPU, as I just showed you, was the GTX. I showed you the GTX 950 by EVGA. It's 2 gigs of VRAM, and I also showed you this AMD. This is going to be the one I'm going to be using when I get the shroud. It's the AMD Instinct MI60, and actually this is wrong. It's 32 gigs of HBM2 VRAM. Oh, it's a massive upgrade, and this will be used for offloading. For example, even right now, I'm doing a live stream. Now, the integrated graphics is doing pretty well, but I found out today that I can't use the the hardware. I don't know if it's because it's an older version or something, or AMD doesn't support it, or maybe I need to get the proprietary drive. I'm not sure. I will do a little bit more investigation, but so far when I tried, is it yesterday or today? Yeah, yesterday, I was not able to get the hardware encoding working. So I said that won't be a problem. It will, this AMD MI60 will be doing things like that. So I'm not too worried about that. So that's a massive upgrade. Even if we just go by the RAM, you see it's going to have 8 times the VRAM. All right, so this obviously, this is struggling. As you guys remember, it was struggling with Blender, it's struggling with AI. This one, I'll do a simple test just to show you, even just using the integrated graphics, how it's actually better than this 950, GTX 950. Okay, the motherboard was, the old system had the ASUS P8Z68VLX, which was also considered a higher end-ish motherboard to power the i7 powerful CPU. And the new system, it has an MSI B550A Pro, which is considered a budget type motherboard, but it's still, it has DDR4, PCIe 4.0 support. Okay, enough said. It's better. So the cooling, it's the same case I'm using. It came with a one stock fan, and in the new system I purchased 5 times the remember the Thermalright TL-S12 fans. So I'm also keeping that stock fan as well. So there we go. So way better improved airflow. And the great thing is, can you hear that? It's that quiet. Can you hear? It's that quiet. The other system was it was like making noise, almost like not as bad as the air conditioner, but it was making noise every time it comes on. The power supply, I was using Thermaltake TR2 600 watts. Now there was a lot of negative reviews about this one. They were saying that it wasn't really producing the 600 watts. But I never had a problem with it. Maybe until it might be the problem why I was having the issues with Chrome and Blender. Yeah, sometimes another weird thing that would happen. I don't know if it was GPU or this power supply. Sometimes I'll be working, then the screen just flickers, like the monitor, the 4K monitor flickers. I'm not sure if it's GPU or it's a power supply problem. I'm not sure, but that could have been a problem, but it survived. Think about it, it survived from 2011, so that's still pretty good. And then obviously I purchased this one. It's a Sama G850W ATX 3.1. So it's feature ready, more efficient. It's more than I need. For example, I think if I do replace this GPU with the one that's later, what do you call it, newer or more modern, I should say, it will obviously not use as much as 300 watts, so that shouldn't be a problem. Now, one little thing is what do you call it, this power supply. I couldn't find too many long-term reviews on it. It's a usual thing. Some people say, "Oh, it's fantastic. I just opened some people just say, I opened the box. It looks great." That's not a review, right? Like, at least use it for a few weeks and say, "Yeah, this was the problem." So am I taking a chance on this? I don't know. So it's a Chinese brand. So I don't know, but I hope it won't be a problem. But if it is, I'll let you guys know. Now. I remember the Intel came with the HD 2000, and because until I get the fan shroud for the GPU, I'll be using the integrated graphics. So I don't want to compare it to the GTX 950, so I'll compare it to the HD 2000. So even without the GPU installed, The Ryzen 5 5600 GT's integrated graphics make a huge difference over the old i7's 2000 Intel HD 2000. Here's a look at some of the improvements and what it means for real-world use in Blender, media, and AI experiments. So, remember the HD 2000 graphics that came with the Intel i7 2600, that's from 2011. So, at the time of this recording, that's over 14 years ago. Crazy. So the AMD Ryzen 5600 GT, it's released in actually last year, 2024. So it's basically there's a 13. It says 13 plus here, 14 years really. Well, it's 13 years from the release date. But yeah, so I guess this is correct. 13 years or 13 plus from the release date, so that's perfect fine. The architecture, this one was using Intel Gen 6. This one is using AMD RDNA 2. So it's a modern design. The shaders for the Intel HD Graphics 2000 was 6 EUs, or about 96 shaders. The Ryzen integrated graphics using 7 CUs and 448 shaders. So about 4.5 times more. The clock speed for the Intel Graphics 2000 HD was 850 megahertz, and for the Ryzen it's 1.9 gigahertz. So gig. So basically more than double. Video decoding. So this one. Now, even though it's that old, Intel still supported in the Linux kernel. I use Linux. So it has basic H.264. But the AMD one, once I get it running, it should have H.64, H.265, VP9, and AV1. And I said I'm not really going to be using it for video decoding. I said I'll be using the the dedicated GPU once I have the fan running for it. So it's 4K ready. So for drivers, this one obviously it uses legacy drivers, and this one uses Mesa, so it's built right into the kernel, the AMD GPU, and it's actively maintained. So now there's some theoretical tests again using the HD Intel HD 2000. So for example, in the Blender viewport, if you use EV, which I didn't, with this one I always have my GTX 950, so you get 4 to 10 FPS. That one is agonizingly slow, and for Radeon, it's the iGPU, you get 35 to 60 FPS. So usable without a discrete GPU. And I'm going to prove that right now. I'm going to open up Blender. And you can see, boom, Blender open up. Remember how many times I was having, even with my GTX 950, Blender wouldn't open up. It was always problematic. Now, I want to show you something. You should be able to see this here. If we go to Edit, go to Preferences. Let me actually make this half screen so people who are on a vertical, or what do you call it, the mobile phones or watching vertically can see this as well. So if you see here, when it's using the cycle renderer, it will ask for the this showed up now. Okay, weird. It didn't show up before. That's so weird. All right, so it looks like I must have been making the correct thing. I guess maybe you know what, I probably just needed to reboot. All right, for next time. So you can set it to none. Then you just use the CPU. You can use CUDA here. Obviously, there's no CUDA devices because I said I'm not using the GTX 950, and I could not use the GTX 950 anyway because the 2 gig was never enough. It would just crash. So we have this one HIP, which is AMD one, and it says no compatible GPUs found for cycles. It requires the AMD GPU with RDNA architecture, which remember the integrated one does have it, and AMD driver version 23.4.0 or newer. So I'll check. Like this never showed up before. It was just showing CUDA or none. when I tested this, yesterday. So this came up here. So as I said, it looks like I just needed to do a reboot. So looks like I can get this working. So I'm happy with that. Same thing with OBS as well. Actually, let me try OBS. Let me guys show you the recording on OBS. I hope this doesn't mess things up too much. Let's go here. So I'm on Linux. So let's go to settings. We go to output. So you see I'm using the video encoder now for streaming because that's the one it gave. Yeah, see it doesn't show anything here. So I'm using the X264 for that one. Alright, so once I get the hardware recording, the file size will be much smaller for when I'm using iGPU. I said like I might not bother. I'll just wait until the once the fan arrives. It's supposed to arrive early next week. I thought it would have arrived today, but it did not. So we'll see. I think it will be by Canada Post, so it might arrive tomorrow. They do deliver on the weekend, so that's actually a good thing. So as you see, Blender here, the GTX was messing up as well. So for example, I can zoom in. Oh, another thing I always had was when I went to the shading tab here, this was always a problem. And here, this has been a problem with the Blender 4.5. That always been a problem with my when I had the GTX 950. So this is proof that this integrated graphics on the AMD is way better than the GTX GTX 950. So and remember, and it might, you know what, it might also just be the CPU because it might also just be the CPU. So once I get hardware encoding, this will probably be much better. Oh, that is so smooth. Every time I go to the shading tab, I was never able to do anything like this. It always mess up. So let me see if I can go here too. No, that's sculpting. Where's shading? Composting. Where's shading? Shading. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And this might just be running on the CPU, but still, it works way better than the old system. So I'm going to close this. I thought I had the fan whine a little bit, so I can close it. Don't save. So there we go. Even just using the CPU fallback, you see with the Intel HD, you get 3 FPS. With the AMD Radeon GPU, 15 FPS. Still CPU bound, but I can actually work with this. And you have to remember too, the CPU is also doing the recording. So I'm recording the video as you guys saw. I'm also doing the live stream. So that, and I can also do stuff in Blender. So you can imagine, very nice. So 1080 video playback on the HD 2000, it was okay. With Radeon integrated graphics, excellent, both handled well, no problems. That's actually true. Obviously, when I had the GTX 950, no problem as well. So 4K AV1 playback, it was not supported. It's supported in the new one. So we got smoother performance. The GL Mark II Vulkan score is about 400 for the Intel HD 2000. For the Radeon iGPU, it's 3000. Significant improvement. Okay, so I have some more screenshots or photos I took of the build. You guys should recognize this. This is the what do you call it? The PSU, the power supply. This is the shock fan that comes with the power supply. Obviously, it's built in. I didn't disassemble it. And I just wanted to show you some pictures of the case. And this is the motherboard, just showing you as well. This is the stock cooler for the CPU, and this is the RAM here. And this is the live stream. So we can tell here some pictures of the so it's just I think just a few milliseconds behind. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to switch this back, and I'm going to show you, I want to show you some other things here. So my system. So as you can see, the output device here, it says AMD DisplayPort Renault Radeon high definition audio controller. So this is the, I can hit test, should play a sound. Let's see here.
Front, right, front, left.
Yeah, so that's obviously the I don't have a dedicated speaker, so I'm just using the monitor, the 4K monitor. It has speakers. I actually paid a little bit extra because I realized, like, when I had the TV, it was really nice having those speakers. My sister bought me this, like, I think it's a 5.1 or 5.0 system, you know, the subwoofer and stuff. And I was in a condo, so it took up a lot of space. And then when it started failing, it would make this weird loud sound which would blow my, try to blow my eardrums off. So I'm okay just using obviously the TV had better speakers than this monitor, but I'm saying I'm okay with it. I'm fine with that. And this microphone, this is the microphone I got from Timu. I did a review. I did a review on this as well, but this is not what we're here for. I want to show you what is it here. Let's go to system. So you can see my system here. I'm using what am I using here? Let's go to about. See, I'm using Fedora Linux 42, a workstation, and the hardware, it says it's a MicroStar International. Oh, that's what MSI stands for. Okay, limited. It's a weird name. And I guess that's the model MS7C56. And the processors AMD Ryzen 5 5600 GT with the Radeon graphics times 12. The times 12 means that it's 12 threads. And you see the RAM is 32 gigabytes. And the disk capacity is 1.9. As I said before, it's I'll show you that in a while. But that has nothing to do with the build, because that was from the old system as well. So let's go to system details here. See, it's the same thing here, just another way of presenting it. And you can see here the firmware version is A.H0. So with the Linux, from the software center, the app, there's an option, if this manufacturers actually put their code or firmware in the repository, I can simply do a firmware update from the software center instead of having to do those shenanigans like get some .DOS or something and reboot. Yeah, so I do prefer that Linux system. And then you see the operating system name is Fedora Linux. We already talked about this. 42 Workstation Edition. That means it's GNOME at 64-bit, and the GNOME version is 48. That's the desktop environment, and I'm using windowing system is Wayland, and the Linux kernel is 6.16.3. And then it's a Fedora stuff. You see FC. That stands for Fedora. I think it stands for Fedora Core 42. It's X64. So that is, yeah, so that's my system, and everything is working. And I can also show you, or I promise to show you the disks. So I can show you the disks. This is what I have here. You see I have this SSD. This is the main one. It's the OCZ or Z Intrepid 3800. I also have another OCZ Saber 1000 is 224 gig. The other one was 400 gigs. It was actually 380, but when you have SSDs, they want to guarantee you get your 380 gigs, so they left some of that space open. I'll come back to another reason for that as well in a second. And this is the other SSD here, this Saber 1000. It's also 240 gigabytes. So this 1, 2, 3 SSDs, I actually bought them used. they were enterprise level. So I knew enterprise level, they, even though they came from a server, they were, what do you call it? I knew they had a lot of life left, because usually when you enterprise stuff is meant to last for several years. So the speculation is that when these drives first came out, because of enterprise, they were very, very expensive. So what happened was, when new technology came out and the prices of bigger SSDs dropped, the data center or the hosting company no longer needed this because they were too small. So they wanted to get rid of them and buy new ones. So they dumped all this, and I bought this one's from Newegg. Never had a problem. They said I got this, I believe, in 2016. So it's been 9 years. And also, I was able to go to the Toshiba website because OCZ no longer exists. And believe it or not, I can't remember the last time I checked, but I was able to download software from there for Linux and manage, like, the usual disk stuff. I stopped doing that because after a while, all the manufacturers put the code, like for auto trimming, that's already built into the kernel. So I no longer need to do such a software to do that. Yeah. So this has been working very well without checking any special software. For example, here with disks, if I click on this one here, you can see my partitioning, and you see the how it's set up here. But I said that has nothing to do with the system. So I'll go, and obviously here I do have this. Remember I told you the DVD RW drives. You can see DRW. The Asus. Oh, both of them are Asus. Okay. The funny thing is, one of these I bought it because it was on sale on a Black Friday sale from a company that no longer exists. It was called NCIX. If you remember, one popular YouTuber, his name is Linus. Not Linus, the Linux the Linux maintainer, but Linus from Linus Tech Tips. When he used to do NCIX Tech Tips, no, it's not him. He's not involved. I'm just saying that he used to promote. Obviously, he worked for the company. He used to promote them when he started his own side business. The funny thing is, I said I bought this from a defunct company, and no, I'm saying they were not defunct. Obviously, very popular back then. If you guys remember that, yeah. So there you go. So, and this drive, one of these drives, I don't know which one, is even older. Believe it or not, it's even older than the i7 2600. So this have served me. I was actually going to get rid of them and use USB sticks, but I shied away from that because one time I backed up something and then the USB stick failed. So I think I might still have that USB stick. I didn't want to send it off to get repaired because I was worried that my sensitive information, because I was trying it out, I didn't encrypt it. I was just trying out to see, just to see the test, and obviously when the drive failed, I was freaked out because I have sensitive information on it, and yeah. So I've kept it. I think I'll go and crash it one time. Maybe I'll try to repair it in the future. I'm not sure. Okay, so that's the system. What else do I want to show you guys? I thought there was something else I need to show you. Let me go to system details. Give me a second. Showing you Wayland. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. I'll do more. I'll do some more or actual like not statistics, some like bench stuff when I get the GP, because it doesn't make sense for me to do that now, because as I said, the integrated graphics is going to be used for very minor things. I said the like video recording and what do you call it, the AI stuff. That's all going to be done on the on the dedicated GPU once it's installed. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to show you. I have a treat for you guys. I can actually open up I'll open up Alpaca here for AI stuff. Okay, where are you? Did it open up? Okay, there we go. Oh, all right. It still open up faster, but okay. So I'm gonna ask it one question. I always ask it, like, who is the mayor of Toronto? See how quickly this is. Remember, this is just using it's using the CPU. And remember, I had the GTX 950 and the i7 2600. Now, it's done. Look how fast that is. And remember, the CPU is also running, it's doing two things. It's doing streaming, and it's also recording a video as well. So it says the current mayor of Toronto is John Toronto. Obviously, this is wrong. That's not the point. I'm just showing you how fast it is. So that's what I was saying. Do I really need to time this to show you that it's much faster? I mean, you can see it right there. I don't need to convince anybody. It's really, really fast. Okay, so I also want to show you. Let's open up the task manager here, system monitor, and so you can see here all the CPUs. And remember, the CPUs are being used right now to record and stream. And you can see it's not even tasking them. Obviously the threads, I meant the threads, sorry, I apologize for that. It's the threads. You can see up the graph here. We can just take a look at this. That is really, 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 really nice. Before I would be hitting like close to 100. So this is really, really nice. And for the memory, obviously the memory is not even being, it's look how much memory I'm using. I'm using 9 gigs out of 33. So now you can imagine when I had the i7, even though I had 2 gigs on the VRAM, it didn't make a difference because it'd be using more memory, and the CPU and the threads as well. So this is really, really nice. And what else? Obviously nothing to do with the internet. So there we go. Very nice. And the fan is very, 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 very quiet. You can't even hear. I'm not even sure if something's outside. That's how quiet it is. All right. So I think file system. So I'll probably need to get an NVMe drive. As you can see, I'm using quite a lot of disk space here. So yeah, I probably do need to get one as well. So you can see all the stuff running. Xwayland. That's probably big thing. The biggest thing right now is Firefox, LibreWolf, GNOME Shell, Chromium. Okay, so I think that's a good one. I think we can end here. How much time has it been? Wow, it's almost been an hour. All right, so that's my system. I said it's all done. It's very easy to put together. I was actually surprised. I didn't cut myself. You can see I was actually out today putting up the roof on the shed. I finished putting up the OSB. Tomorrow I'm going to put the felt, and I'm hoping to finish up with the shingles as well. Then I can start working on the side. Right. Okay, so that's it. If you guys have any questions, or as I said, I'll also do another review once I have the GPU inside, because I don't want to do any tests right now because that's not fair. I mean, I'm not going to be using integrated graphics for that work. So, but I wanted to give an update on the system. So basically, I want to get this out of the way so that in the next video, it'll just be about how the GPU is working. So I don't need to go through this all over again. Just want to show you. This is the comparison with the old system, and when I have the GPU. Now, I could technically, if I really wanted, I could have 3 GPUs. I could plug in that GTX 950, have the AMD, and obviously also have the integrated graphics. But I'm not gonna bother. I'm happy with the way this is. All right, so I do have some recommended reading. Obviously, I mentioned AI and Python several times. So learning Python. I have the book. It's available on Amazon. I have the Mastering Blender Python API. That's my main thing. Besides Blender, I use for video editing. I also make models using Python. So if you want to learn how to do that as well, no, not just models, the video editing, the grease pencil, and much more. That's the Mastering Blender Python API book. It's also available on Amazon. Links in the description. You can automate Blender with Python scripts and add-ons. I also have the Learning Python course. It's available on ojamboshop.com. It's an online course, so it's a great hands-on for learners. Alright, where are we here? Also offer one-on-one help if you need help getting started with Python, Blender scripting, or AI setup. I'm available for one-on-one tutorials, Blender installation and scripting support, AI training, or migration. You can contact me on ojambo.com to schedule a session. So final thoughts. This new build may not be flashy with RGBs or liquid cooling, but it's powerful, efficient, and practical for the kind of work I do: Python development, Blender projects, and AI training. If you're building your own creative workstation in 2025, feel free to reach out or comment below with questions. And also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content.